Hello, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 16. I'm your host, Wes, and with me, as always, Roots and Alex to talk about the week in VR news. News of the week this week: Defector released from Twisted Pixel, from Twisted Pixel this past Tuesday, July 9th for $20 on the Oculus Store. Uh, we've been waiting for this one for quite some time, years, in fact, and finally it came. And I got into it for a little while earlier today. Just wanted to check it out quickly because I knew we had the show upcoming. I wanted to be able to comment on it a little bit. So far, so good. The production values are really good. Not very photorealistic. It's a little more cartoony, but very much that blood and truth spy thriller feel to it. Um, there seems to be much more of an emphasis on the story. There's branching dialogue paths, and there's a mechanic built into that there's actually an art to negotiation and having a conversation. Um, Good melee combat, good gunplay. I particularly like the reload mechanic, and yeah, some larger than life scenarios that you're put into as well. So I put maybe 45 minutes to an hour into it. Enjoyed what I played, and yeah, it's very promising so far. Roots, what did you think about Defector?
I think it's really amazing. I've played both Blood and Truth and this, and so far I'm almost preferring this, if only because of locomotion. But there's so much to this game that I like. You can do like I had to go back a second time, or I didn't have to. I figured out that I left my spy scan on and couldn't see some scenes properly. So I went back through, and the second time I went through, I realized that I could get in the safe in the main room, right? And I got this attachment that you get to play with in the training for the gun, and it attaches bombs to people. And so I was blowing up these bodyguards, and it was so fucking cool. I was like, oh my God. And just even that aspect added so much more. Everything's interactive. Like I even, I don't know if you guys messed with the guy that you're talking to here in a second or not, but like if you throw a fork at him, or like he'll call his guards, and you got to restart. And like there's just a lot of shit you can do. I really enjoyed this. What I've played, probably almost an hour and a half, because I went through twice. But it's that good that I wanted to go through again. Well, see, he won't do it there, but if you do it at the table, he will. You got to wait till you're sitting down at the meeting with him. But yeah, it's really good. Alex, I know you checked this out. What did you think of Defector?
Yeah, I've actually finished. I finished the first playthrough, so I've been through it and played through all the levels and everything. Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying that it's a really good. It's a good game. It's worth. I mean, it's easily worth the money. I mean, it's $20, £16. You know, it's a bit of a bargain. I did have fun with it, definitely, but it's not without its share of problems, in my opinion. So I'm probably not going to be quite as hyped as you guys are on it, but I think it starts off, the first mission that you guys have probably both played starts off really well. It's like the best mission. Obviously, you can mess around and stuff, and there's quite a lot of different scenarios and stuff you can play through. But it just kind of, from that mission onwards, it's good. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun with it, but there's some, like the dialogue when you're walking up to people, like the second level's India, you can talk to like 6 different people, but the conversations never go anywhere. You're literally just talking to them, and then they kind of just then in conversations that feel completely pointless. And then, like I know, Roots, you said you were having some issues with actually figuring out how to do things. Like it wasn't clear to you, like you were talking to people, you weren't really getting anywhere with them. And I had the same issue where I was talking to everyone and I was trying to figure, like, it felt a little bit frustrating because I just spent the time not knowing what the hell I was doing. And the actual dialogue just didn't really evolve or do anything. It felt really pointless, really, when you're trying to talk to a civilian and you're asking them stupid questions and they're like just not really responding to you. And there were cool aspects to that level. Like once I got past that and I got into the gambling den and you can play some little gambling games, I thought they were cool little additions. And then there's like a chase scene you can choose, which is one of the options, and I enjoyed that. But it was just those bits in between, where you between the action where you're supposed to be like leading up to a story, and it just felt a little bit disjointed and awkward, really. So that's one criticism I'd say. There's times when I don't know if you guys experience this because I know you guys use like click turn and what have you, but if you're like turning physically in your room, there's times where the game wants you to be facing the front of your camera. So it'll literally just spin like the world around. So then all of a sudden, the thing that you need to be looking at is behind you and you've got to turn around. It's just really bizarre the way it works. I don't know why they didn't do it, why they didn't just keep it wherever you're facing. But yeah, anyway, you guys probably haven't experienced that yet, or maybe you won't because of the way you use click turn or what have you, but it was really jarring. And there were just a few little frustrations here and there with just a bit of clunkiness. Like when sometimes you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing, and you need to grab a guy to throw him into something, and you're trying to grab him, and it's not acknowledging you grabbing him and stuff. And it was just a few. It's a good game. I don't get me wrong, I really enjoy it. I mean, I finished it in 3 nights, and I'll definitely go back and replay the other scenarios because you've got these branching paths. So you can choose like one action sequence or like maybe like a stealth option or and what you can do is once you've finished the game, you can go back to those sequences and just pick to do the other ones. You don't have to replay the entire game. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do the in between bits are just too annoying for me to have to go back through those to just get those scenes. So I'll just go back to the scenes, choose the ones I didn't choose. And the other good thing about it, which is because it has got replayability, is obviously other than the replaying the different scenes that you could do, is that there's objectives in each level. If you pull your objectives up, it gives you different tasks like so many headshots, so many sniper kills. So there's definitely replayability with that. And then if you do those objectives, you can unlock like cheats which change the gameplay, change the visuals. So there's definitely reasons to go back to it. But I'll definitely be going back just to the action scenes and just the cool stuff, and probably just skipping all the stuff that don't feel particularly great. So
Right, and that is a cool aspect of this game. One of the things that really jumped out at me is the replayability of it all. It does seem like it's going to take multiple playthroughs to get it all. And yeah, I did experience the thing with the camera moving around on me a little bit. I thought maybe that I was having some kind of an issue with my Rift. But I guess if it's happening to you as well, then it must be a larger issue. The dialogue, I was kind of hoping that it would somehow reveal some residual details to the larger story, because one of the things that really did impress me about this game is the level of detail that they're putting into the story. Like each character that you encounter, that they've taken the time to have a full backstory and profile for everyone. So if you look at a character and press B, you get this kind of intelligence rundown about facts about this person's life and background. I thought that was really cool.
Yep. No, I was gonna say I agree. That's probably what got me into trouble. Is I started scanning everybody, and those guards in that second area. One of them said that he takes no nonsense, that he's not gonna mess with you. And then the other one said something else, and I think I convinced myself not to go through all the talking, and one of them would have given me something. But anyway, so I think I kind of messed up on that. But No, I did have the same issue with the moving. I thought it was a strafing issue. Like I would try to go, so I turned the strafing off. I would try to go and I would try to turn like I normally would most games and just whip around, and my camera was doing weird stuff. So I was noticing it, but I was attributing it to that setting. But
There is something with the. I don't know if you looked in the options because you can have it so it's head tracked or controller tracked.
I did put it to head tracking because that made a huge difference for me too. And I was thinking that would be something that would make, because that's what helped me a lot. It would be something you wouldn't even try because it makes you sick. So
no, the controller tracking don't work right at all. There's something weird with it.
Okay.
Like if it doesn't even, I don't know. I can't. I tried doing the controller tracking and it never went where I wanted it to go. It was like it's so bizarre the way it worked. So I ended up having to go for the head tracking. Anyway,
Okay.
How was performance for you guys? I mean, I was using Revive, so I can't really.
It ran really.
I know that
really good for me. I put it at 1.5 and it super sample, and it was ran butter smooth. So, but this is where I had problems with my scanning. One thing I was going to say, as far as no, go ahead. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, the one thing I will say is that, again, I don't know if this is just because I'm using Revive or what have you, but things in the distance are quite blurry. I don't know if I think it's an Unreal Engine situation where if you're in like a room, everything looks fine, but if you're like looking down a big open area, things in the distance look really blurry. And I was on Ultra. If you turn it down to high or standard, it gets even worse. It just gets more blurry. So you like, I found that I had to run it on Ultra just to get it to look decent. If you try and run it on standard or high, it just really, I don't know if they're just turning the super sample in down or something, but it looks really blurry for me.
Okay.
So it looks good, but then it does worry me because there's definitely an issue with Unreal Engine. I've seen this several times over where things in the distance just don't look sharp or clear. And I know we've got Asgard's Wrath, which is obviously an Unreal Engine game, and it just makes me worried that maybe there's a limitation with I've heard people say it's something to do with deferred rendering or forward rendering, and if you don't use the right renderer, they never look clear in the distance in Unreal Engine. So I don't know whether this is going to be a continuous problem, because we had the same issue with Rogan, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, it just looks a bit fuzzy to me in the background, and it doesn't look super sharp. But things close up look good. And like you said, Wes, it's not like a realistic, ultra realistic graphics. It's kind of like a blend between cell shading and realism, and it looked quite cool. I still quite like the look of it. So
Yeah, I didn't notice any blurriness.
Me either.
But again, I haven't made it very far into the game yet. But I ran just like Roots, the graphic setting on Ultra, Oculus Tool Tray, 1.5 super sampling, and everything was beautiful and crystal clear that I experienced.
maybe it's because I'm using Steam VR and it's ignoring super sampling or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'll just have to attribute it to a Revive problem, because obviously I'm not using the Rift. So
Right. Yeah. So, really, I've enjoyed everything. Now, I thought that the scenarios, I mean, in Blood and Truth, some of the things that happen are really far-fetched. It really wouldn't happen in real life, but it's possible enough that you can suspend disbelief. In the few short minutes that I played this game, some of the things that happen could never possibly happen in real life. It's just so far-fetched. I was kind of taken back by that a little bit. Did this bother either of you?
I expected that. They already said in some of the previews that it's basically, this is just like Fast and Furious, just over the top, ridiculous, and jumping one plane to another without a parachute and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
Well,
it's just crazy.
It
So.
felt like you were in a like Mission Impossible movie. It's just, I mean, it's just different, you know. And Blood and Truth is a different movie you're in. You know, this one's a little bit crazier. You know, as you're watching those movies like Mission Impossible, like the most recent one, you're watching stuff and you're like, there's no fucking way. There's no way a human could grab onto something in this long and pull themselves up and get in. No, there's no way. Your arms would give because it's quite a while. But for most people anyway. But I was going to say, as far as the chat, that was what I had forgotten. I did feel the same thing, that there was almost no reason. Like, you could pick every single option. It didn't affect anything. There was no consequence to picking the wrong choice. There was clearly a right one outside of, like you said, and all of those people in that second stage were rude, but they would never answer anything, and everything was just a roundabout, and it made me feel like what am I doing? And then I was looking for coins that weren't there, and because I hadn't triggered something, so there clearly wasn't leading you in the proper way, or I didn't go far enough to a certain character, but it was a little frustrating, and that is why I stopped there. And then when I played again, I restarted to watch that jet scene. So
Yeah, there's another level, the London level after that. You have to go and talk to someone on the front desk, and if you're not stood in the exact right place, you can't talk to them. So I walked up to the front desk, and there's a little line coming up where it says talk normally. The line was there, but it didn't say talk, and I thought, oh, maybe I need to do something else. So I was talking to all the other people. No one was interested in talking to me. I went up 4 flights of stairs to try and figure something out. Went all the way back down. I even reset the level because I thought there was something wrong with the game. And eventually, I kind of like moved around a little bit in where she was, and eventually it gave up, let me talk to her. So there's just certain little glitchy sort of jank with it that just kind of ruins it a little bit for me.
yeah, maybe they'll fix it.
Did you guys play it standing, I'm assuming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you feel at all weird when you had a scene where you're supposed to be sitting and you look out from your face and there are your blue invisible legs sticking out from your chest?
I would reset. I've got my silver right. Well, I'm sat on it now, but I would just sit down and reset, because if you press both thumbsticks, you can reset your view. So I would literally just sit down, reset, because it is weird. You always feel weird when you've got that disconnect, I find. So if you can try and match things up, I always try and do that. Yeah, I think towards the end I kind of got fed up with doing it and maybe just stood there. But it does feel weird when you're sat and you're not sat.
That's weird. I just ignore it. I mean, I guess, it makes sense, but I don't know. I tune it out or something. Can't be bothered to sit down. That's too much work, dude.
That's what I did. I started the game, and immediately in the first scene, you're sitting. So I was just kind of had to scramble around to find my chair really quickly. And after that, everything was cool. I did what Alex did. I just stood up and sat down to match the situation. Root, you said you made it into that safe in the first scene. Do you have to play through it once to access that, or
no?
Did I just
no? See, what happened is in that, and this isn't really spoilers because it's within the first 5 seconds of the game. When he gets up to go and do his thing, you have the 2 minutes, 120 seconds. So my first time playing through, I opened up the briefcase and it said scan when I turned on my scanner, and I'm thinking I'm trying to hit a button to try to get it to scan. Well, I was already scanning. I didn't, that's how in-depth I was. So I wasted that time. But the second time I knew what I was doing. So I immediately ran over to this briefcase and I started looking through the files, the emails, and it gives you a code and it tells you where to find to get the safe to pop up. And so I went in there and found the shock ring, which I had already found the first time, but I don't know if you guys found that shock ring, but that thing is really, really cool. And it's really helpful when you're fighting that main bodyguard guy.
Yeah,
I didn't actually.
I thought it was something like that, but I couldn't get the briefcase to open. I ran over to the briefcase. It would let me grab the corners of it and put my thumbs on the buttons, but I couldn't get it to snap open. I don't know.
Exactly
tried
the
all-
same thing happened to me. Yeah, I think you see, this is what I'm talking about. It's just this
Little
weird sort
jank.
of like because I did. They told me to put my scanner on, and I put my scanner on, and it was like bright red. So I walked up to it, and I was like, I was trying to press all the buttons. I was trying to push my hands physically, and it just wouldn't open.
See,
And then you have to do
I
something else.
grabbed.
So.
See, there's two different latches. I guess this is good because everybody's gonna go in knowing how to get in there. I grabbed one latch and then I grabbed the second latch and then popped it open. It was just my instinct to grab one and then the other. I didn't wasn't like grabbing corners or trying to lift it up. It just there was two different things to grab and then it did it and popped it up. But
It's a problem. It's a problem with this type of thing because we've talked about this before. Like with Blood and Truth, they used a node teleportation. Well, not teleportation, but they know exactly where you're going to be, where you're going to be looking, what you're going to be, So they don't. I'm pretty sure I've not played it. But I'm pretty sure they don't have these issues where you have these things where it's sometimes turning you around and things. Whereas with you've got free locomotion, you can go anywhere, you can be looking at anything. I think that's why sometimes you get in these things where it's spinning you around, trying to force you to look at something, and it's a problem. It's definitely difficult for these sort of games to be able to do that without using sort of like a node-based teleportation.
it's a good point.
Right. So it's a trade-off either way. So with Blood and Truth, you don't have a lot of this jank, but you also don't have a lot of this freedom to explore either. So yeah, it's two different gameplay styles. I would say that there's a lot of really cool concepts in Defector, maybe not the best execution of them all, specifically with the dialogue. Obviously, it's a really good idea, but from what you guys are saying, maybe not the best execution of it. But yeah, all in all, I'm looking forward to getting back in it and playing around with this some more because I did very much enjoy, despite the few issues I had, I did very much enjoy my time in this game.
What do you guys think about?
Yeah, we'll have to.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say $20. What do you guys think? I mean, that is like the perfect price, though. For what you get, I can't imagine anybody really having a reason not to buy this game. I mean, that's just such a good price because you're getting several hours of really good gameplay. I think, aside from the jank, but
yeah, it's easy. It's an absolute bargain. I mean, I'm being kind of a bit critical on it, but overall the game's good. And I did enjoy. It took me probably about 4.5 hours to finish one playthrough, and by the time I've gone back through and done all the different scenarios, it'll be a good 5-6 hours. And $20, £16, and it is high production value. Minus some of the jank. If once you get past the jank and you're in the action scenes, I really enjoyed it. So we'll have to do a review next week and get you guys can finish playing it and
this seems.
Yeah, I think it.
Sorry,
Wes can't get a word in.
Sorry, Wes. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I think it is important to note that this is day 3, day 4. This game's probably going to be patched, and hopefully some of this jank that we're experiencing is going to go away.
No, I was just going to say that this game is just, I don't know. I just think it's a must pick up. But anyway.
Yeah, I want to play more before I come up with a final verdict on it. But from what I've played so far, it seems that what Alex said is probably going to be true, that this is going to be a bargain for $20. So yeah, like Alex said, we'll play through it. Maybe play through it more than once, and we'll come back maybe next week, maybe the week after, and maybe do a full review of it and delve a little deeper into Defector.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on, the other big release, Defector is one of the big releases this year. We have Defector, we have Asgard's Wrath, which is supposedly coming very soon, and then there's Stormland. And this past week, Insomniac did a Stormland live stream where they mainly talked about world building and some of the worlds and levels in the game. Apparently, the way you're going to access these levels is by traveling from island to island. They did reveal that co-op gameplay is going to be available, that's a big deal to me. I don't know about you guys, but when they say you can experience a AAA game like this with a friend, all of a sudden the value level just went way up for me. They said that it's partially procedurally generated, which is interesting to me because we generally either a game is procedurally generated or it's not. But they said some elements are fixed, other elements are procedurally generated. Alex, what did you think about that when they said that this game's kind of going to be hybrid in that aspect?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because obviously it's a little bit confusing 100% what because I know it's going to have a single player kind of campaign, but from what I could but from this live stream and from what they've said, they're kind of looking to basically give it sort of maybe even like a roguelite or roguelike or whatever you want to call it sort of aspect where you can basically just keep playing it over and over again. And they've said that there's going to be these realms, so you're going to have these little islands that you can go from island to island, and then there's going to be realms, and you can actually go from one realm, so you'll go through one realm to get to another realm, and you can actually see the other realm. There's no loading or anything like that. It's all kind of a big open world kind of environment. And as you're progressing through these realms, they're going to get harder. The environments are going to change. The weather's going to change. But they're going to be kind of procedurally generated. And then they're going to be like hand tuned. So they're going to kind of, I think they're going to use this I can't even say it, procedurally generated engine that they've developed to quickly be able to make the kind of scenes and randomize some of the loot, but then they're probably going to go in there and tweak and change things that might just to make it, because obviously procedurally generated levels only go so far. You can never really beat a proper handcrafted level. So I think they're kind of trying to get that in between where it's going to be procedurally generated, but it's also going to have that thing where things are going to look a bit more individual. Things are going to look like they should be there rather than things just being plonked all over the place. Because obviously you've got to have procedurally generated levels because sometimes can have a bit of weirdness where a building might be stuck in a rock which would never be, which would never exist. So it sounds like it's going to be weird because how long are they going to support this game after launch if it's going to continuously keep regenerating new levels and new realms as you go through? Are they going to have to keep working to handcraft some of this stuff? It's an interesting thing that they're building here, and it's definitely something different. Yeah, and it just looked really cool from what they showed. They didn't really show any gameplay, so there's no real spoilers. So if you want to check the live stream out, I'd recommend watching it because it's about an hour and it's really interesting. They answer a lot of questions, and they show some of the different sort of environments that they're going to build. The weather looks really cool, like being stood in a stormy environment with rain coming down and trees swaying in the heavy winds and stuff. Looks really cool. Imagining being in that environment, and especially being able to do that in co-op, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I think that the hybrid, world building style that they're using has a lot of potential. It's a great idea because, there's a lot of replayability that comes with roguelike games, but generally most of the time these games tend to be fairly monotonous. There's not a whole lot of variety in the levels. I mean, the map itself will change, but everything kind of looks the same. So even though you can play through it and get a new challenge each time, they kind of tend to get boring quickly. But with this, it kind of seems like if they do it right, that you're going to get the best of both worlds, and I think that that's awesome. Roots, what do you think? Do you think that these big sprawling worlds that are kind of half and half procedural versus handcrafted, do you think it's going to turn out to be a good co-op experience as far as exploration goes.
I think so. I think I'm kind of intrigued to see what they're going to do with it, because the resources they can save it only focusing on really what matters versus what doesn't matter to regenerate. And I'm kind of curious to know if it'll have like a AI backing, or like, can you imagine if it also knew what you've been through before, and so it automatically changes it, so you're guaranteed to have something different. I mean, I don't think it's probably going to be that advanced, but I think we're heading towards that moment, and I think it's coming quicker than we know. I've been reading some articles on AI, and the things that they're doing with it is just amazing and scary. But as far as video games, I think we're really close to them regenerating completely different, not only areas, but maybe even stories, to where you could make a game where it's not as obvious, where you're picking, different paths, but it just automatically changes and morphs, and the AI is controlling it. And I think it could be really cool.
Yeah, I think we're a few years away from that, but you're right. One day, we're likely to have games where the world is created by the game developer, but the AI crafts the story, so things just happen in the game rather than having a pre-programmed response. But
people too, that technology for people's images and stuff, it'll take people's faces and create what you and I would look like and say, oh, that's a real person, and they've just taken attributes from other people and put it together to make it look so real. And then you put that in AI, and you have a scenario like Arizona Sunshine, instead of having 5 different skins. I mean, you never see the same zombie. I mean, I just get kind of fascinated and excited, because I think we're really close. Yeah, I think a couple of years, but definitely a lot closer than people think.
Yeah. And as far as Stormland goes, this is one of the big ones. This is a true AAA game coming to VR, and coming in holiday 2019. I guess I should add, this is another one of the things that they revealed during that live stream. We all kind of assumed that it would be coming around the end of this year, and they did confirm that. So
hopefully it doesn't get pushed back. But
yeah.
Right. All right. Anything else on Stormland? Did I miss any important notes from that thing that we didn't talk about?
No.
All right. So from there, one AAA game. We're going to move on to a little bit of talk about some other AAA titles, because there was a report that surfaced this last week that Oculus has pinned an exclusive deal with Ubisoft to bring Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell franchises to VR. And again, this is an unconfirmed report from multiple supposedly reliable sources. And if this is true, it has great implications over what's going to happen to PC VR gaming over the next few years. But before we get into any of that, I just want to ask, have either of you ever played Assassin's Creed or Splinter Cell? And if so, did you like them? Do you enjoy them?
I've played Assassin's Creed.
Alex?
Oh, sorry.
I was waiting for Roots to talk.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll just go. I have played Assassin's Creed back in the day. Never played Splinter Cell. I didn't really care for Assassin's Creed, and it's a personal issue. I'm more of a shooter. I don't like getting up and using swords. Every game I played, if I got to do DPS, it's going to be ranged. It's not going to be a melee. So.
Yeah, I played. Well, I didn't play Assassin's Creed. I own one of them because they on the Ubisoft store, the Uplay or whatever. After Notre Dame burned down recently, they one of their games is set there, so they gave everyone that game free of charge. So I went ahead and went on there and claimed it, but I've never loaded it up. I've always thought Assassin's Creed looked pretty cool. I think I did play a Splinter Cell game way back when. It was one of the Tom Clancy games. I'm not sure if it was Splinter Cell or not. I do remember that I did enjoy it more than like the more common Call of Duty type games. but I was never a huge fan of either genre. I had kind of gotten away from gaming before they became popular. What about you, Alex? Do you have any experience with either of these franchises?
Yeah, I've played both. Well, not both because there's obviously loads and loads of the Splinter Cell games and loads of Assassin's Creed games. Um, Obviously this is all speculative stuff, so it's all a big rumor at the moment, but it's definitely interesting to talk about. But yeah, Assassin's Creed, I played the first one, the second one. I skipped all the Brotherhood stuff, played the third one, which I thought was pretty shit. The fourth one, which was pretty cool, that was like a pirate, had a piratey one where you're a pirate and you can get to do some ship play, and I think that's about it. I never played any of the like Unity, and they've made so many of these games. I just found they just got repetitive. You just because you parkouring across these cities, but you kind of just pressing a button and just pushing forwards. Kind of, you're not really doing anything. When they first came out, it was really innovative. The way that you moved and everything felt incredible. Because we'd never seen anything like it before. But then obviously now they've made like 12 games or whatever it is they made. I don't know how many they've made, but it just gets repetitive for me. And I'm not really a big flat gamer or anyone anymore, just because the gameplay for me just feels the same as what I've been playing for the past 10 years. So Assassin's Creed is definitely one of those that's just it feels like you're kind of just in a new city. They'll add a few extra menus. You maybe can recruit someone, but you're effectively just doing the same thing. So I'm definitely interested to see if this does come to VR. Obviously, I hope that they do go, and I do like third-person VR games, but I personally hope that they go first person and just go innovate and do something interesting with it. And then Splinter Cell, I played. The last one I played was Blacklist or something, which was actually really good. I like Splinter Cell games. They're a stealth game. We know how well they work. It's interesting that both of these are actually third-person games, though, which obviously we don't know if this is true. This is obviously a rumor, but if they do, will they go third person and keep it just as a third person game with a VR mode, or are they going to actually go full ground up first person? But obviously these are both Ubisoft or Ubisoft or however you say it, and they've got good background in VR. They've done Star Trek Bridge Crew, Transference, Eagle Fly, a few other bits and bobs. So, Ubisoft probably the biggest, AAA publisher that are actually interested in VR. So it does make sense for them to be the ones that Oculus obviously managed to get on board and fund in some of these big titles. But it's definitely interesting to see this rumor, because I know a lot of people have been saying that obviously Oculus are kind of stepping away from VR. They're not interested. And we've had some discussions in the Discord, people kind of, I'm not calling anyone out, but it's been interesting reading people's viewpoints on this and how they feel. But the thing I'll say is that Facebook bought Oculus for $2 billion. Why would you spend $2 billion to buy a separate company called Oculus and then pump literally multi millions into software and hardware to then just give up on it? It doesn't make any sense to me. I know Facebook's ultimate aim is to have AR and social interaction, but why would they not just do that under the Facebook name if they're going to do that? So to me, I just feel like Oculus have said that it's a 10-year plan. They've committed to it. They're doing everything that they've said they were going to do. They're trying to bring it to the masses. They said that they were going to start pumping money into big AAA titles rather than doing smaller indie titles. They're doing everything that they've said they're going to do, but yet people are saying that they've abandoned in VR. They're not going to do PC VR. And I don't see that personally. I don't see that myself. And if this is true, this just reconfirms to me that Oculus aren't giving up on VR. They are in it for the long term. Because if they pay for this game to be made, and let's say they make it from ground up, it's going to take 2-3 years for them to make a game. So we won't see these till like 2021, 2022 maybe. So if they're planning that far ahead in the future, they're definitely not backing out. They're not abandoning VR right now. So
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying here. They've spent multiple millions of dollars just on eye tracking and dynamic foveated rendering software alone. And I don't see them just leaving that on the table because that they finally released an affordable standalone headset that works pretty well. I think that you're exactly right. They've done everything that they said that they were going to do. And I think that that alone is enough to warrant us just trusting them to be good to their word. They said they're not getting out of PCVR, and I don't think that they are. Not at this time, anyway. And back to this specific report, if it's true, I think that it could be huge news. And the reason why is it shows a new phase for Oculus. Up to this point with them, it's been more about establishing a Gen 1 hardware, set. And now they seem to be content with their Gen 1 products that they have for people. They have fulfilled their promises for providing something for everyone with the different products. And now, by spending the big money on franchises like these, as well as, this report said that it's not just this, but they're looking to create these kinds of partnerships and buy gaming studios outright to produce content. So if all of this turns out to be true, what it means is they're not taking it lying down that Sony's just going to be number one and they're going to be number two. One of the biggest advantages that Sony has over PCVR, and probably the biggest advantage is the library of exclusives. And what this report shows is that Oculus plans to take that advantage away and become the premier VR platform in the world across all sectors, whether that be standalone or PC or maybe even console. And that's something else that has been rumored in recent weeks. But what this is going to spark, if true, is it's going to spark a major competition with Sony, a struggle for our dollars, basically, and more importantly, just our participation in our data. That's what this is all about, getting our data, because that's more valuable than all the money that they're investing. But competition, as we have seen in every other facet of business, is good for the consumer. And that, I think, is the headline here, is that if there's a coming competition between the titans of video games, and especially in VR, that it's going to just mean a lot of great games at affordable prices for us, the consumer. Roots, do you have anything you want to add on this whole conversation?
I've got quite a bit. I've been waiting for a while, chomping at the bit. But no, I agree 100% that this is going to be huge. We say rumor, but how many days? If it's true, because it is a rumor at this point. But in my opinion, every day that goes by that neither franchise, Oculus or Ubisoft, comes out and says, whoa, that's not happening, it becomes a little bit more credible. I'm not at the point where I would say definitively, yeah, it's true. But I'm getting close to that point. And as to your point, Alex, as far as wanted to be the premier, or was it West? The premier, the premier store, I 100% agree. They're already in PC, in my mind, set themselves up. I mean, you tell me what exclusives I have to have another headset to go to, and people can point to Revive. That's great. There's a program that Oculus at this point is allowing people to use their program. They can shut that down any day. So that's not a guarantee. And then you have what Alex was saying, he's using the index, and there's issues sometimes with Revive. It doesn't quite let you run, because I know Drilla was saying the same thing. He couldn't run Defector he had to turn it down to 1.0 on his card. I think it was him that said that, somebody. And so there's other issues as far as that goes. But you tell me, there's so many different things coming out for Oculus and have in the past that are steps ahead of everybody else, and I think they're set themselves up to be PC, the premium PC games at this point. And it looks like, if this rumor is true, they're taking another step, and it's going to be a snowball effect, like Wes was saying. The competition alone is going to be good for all of us. I know a lot of people are apprehensive, and I've seen a lot of people trashing it because it's Facebook, and I don't care who it is. I just want to play AAA games in VR, third person or first person. I'll take either one. Either one would be amazing for VR at this point. But I agree with Alex, something different, first person, would be really cool. So
yeah, I agree completely. All right, anything else on this bit of, it's easy to call it a rumor, but I think it's has slightly more credibility than that. This report last week or the week before, there was a rumor that there's a coming alliance between Microsoft and Facebook that's going to allow the next Xbox to run the Oculus platform, Oculus Rift S, and that I would call a rumor. This cites multiple sources, and as we all know, Upload VR has those sources. So I think it has a little more credibility to it than a rumor. And if this is true, I think it does actually lend some credibility to the rumor I just mentioned about the Xbox. Let's say Oculus is going to be available to play on the next Xbox. These are the kind of announcements that and things that we would expect to hear if that were true, that these bigger franchises are going to be making games for Oculus. It would make a lot more sense. So yeah, definitely a lot to look for here. Something that is going to be unfolding over the coming weeks, and it just makes me all that more hyped for OC6, which is coming up in just a couple months' time.
Where's that at? OC6, the OC6?
San Jose, California.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I was thinking about maybe trying to go to something like that, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to go to something like that, but I think you have to, one, have press credentials, and two, buy the passes, which are nuts, like $500 to $1,000 for a ticket to that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, quite expensive. One of these days.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
And what? Just quickly, I'll quickly just say, with regards to the whole Microsoft thing, we have talked about it in the Discord and privately as well. It does make a lot of sense. I know some people are saying that they don't see it happening because obviously they've got Windows mixed reality headsets, but Windows mixed reality headsets are pretty much gone. You can't buy them virtually anywhere apart from the Odyssey now. So either they're pulling out and they're not bothering doing them anymore, or they've got something else that's going to be launched and announced soon. But if we don't see anything by the end of the year mixed reality wise, I think there is a chance, because they've partnered with Oculus before, with the gamepads with Oculus. And obviously, if they do have Oculus, they've got the inside-out tracking. They've got the industry-leading inside-out tracking right now. That's ready and waiting that they can plug into your next Xbox. They could then possibly strike up a deal to get all the exclusives, which would enable them to catch up with Sony. I mean, they've got all the exclusives: Wilson Hart, Artica 1. There's probably 10, maybe even 15 exclusives that they could have access to straight away that could be just available on the Xbox. So yeah, I think there is some credit. There is a chance it could happen. Obviously, again, it's a rumor, and we'll have to wait and see. But if it does happen, I think that's great news. I think personally. So
yeah, it makes a lot of sense for both parties. From Microsoft on their end, sure, they could go the WMR route, but let's be honest here. WMR does not work like the Rift X works. Not only does is the tracking like light years ahead of the WMR tracking, but Oculus brings, like Alex said, this content library that no one else can match. I mean, it's head and shoulders above everything. To be able to have that ready-made library of games. I mean, Microsoft has set out Gen 1 VR, and to be able to come into Gen 2, how else would they make up all the ground that they've lost other than by forming an alliance with Oculus? It's the only way that they can compete with Sony on day one, is by integrating Rift S support. And it makes sense for Facebook too, because as we all know, their goal is to get 1 billion people into VR. And if they're going to count on PC VR to grow that much, then they're not going to meet their goal. But if they open themselves up to an already, decades long established console community, well, there's a lot, many millions of people.
Millions of people.
That this is going to bring into their ecosystem. So it's a win-win, and it makes a whole lot of sense from both perspectives to me.
Yeah, it makes sense on every single level, because I was going to say the same thing. Just the fact of, because that was the biggest thing we've said, that Sony's so far ahead, light speed ahead with games, exclusives, that it was going to be almost impossible for Xbox to get a foothold, right? But now you have, not only do you have the Oculus game, but you have the Oculus brand come along with it. And, people may not like Facebook, but most people, especially with the Quest out there now, most people know what Oculus is. And then you say, hey, you're going to take this headset and plug it right into your Xbox. I mean, it gives me goosebumps, because I don't think we've gotten into this rut of thinking everything's going to kind of stay the same. And technology and business doesn't, especially in the gaming industry, doesn't go by those rules. It's innovation and flipping the table over every 4 or 5 years. And I think we're getting ready to see the table get flipped over in the next year and a half to 2 years for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely changing. And Sony and Microsoft have actually partnered. They've announced they've partnered together to do this. They're tackling the streaming thing. I think they've probably looked at Google Stadia as a threat, and they've decided to partner up, and they're going to try and figure out the whole, game streaming thing together. So, who would have thought Sony and Microsoft would partner up for something like that? So, there's nothing's. You can't look at the past and say that's how things have been, because things are changing a lot. So, it's possible.
Yep.
Anyway, we spent enough time on that.
and the way that technology has been changing over the last few years, and is going to change over the next few years, it's probably going to necessitate a lot of change in the whole business structure with video gaming. It's an exciting time to be a gamer, because everything is about to change. So. All right, so moving on to back to cold hard news and out of the realm of speculation. Until You Fall, which was a game that was announced. Was it during the E3? It was during the E3 period, I think, that this game was
on the
announced.
run up to it. Yeah, I think we had like close to E3 they announced it, didn't they? So
right. So we wondered when this game was coming, and now we know. It's going to release into early access. I guess that's important to note, that it's going to be early access on August 27th. This, of course, is a melee game. It is a roguelike, procedurally generated game, developed by Shell Games, the people that brought us, was it I Expect You to Die? Is that what they made?
yeah.
Anyway, it's a melee combat game, procedurally generated. The primary method of fighting in this game is dual sword wielding, and each individual sword is upgradable. It's customizable, I guess, and apparently it's very customizable. There's something like 30 different aspects of each sword that you can customize. So as I was alluding to earlier, roguelikes generally aren't my thing. They're fun for a while, but they get boring kind of quickly to me. But the art style in this looks really cool. The melee fighting looks like it could be pretty fun to do. So I'm definitely going to give this one a shot. What about you, Alex? Are you looking forward to trying this one out?
It looks interesting. I was Chris Gould in the Discord was put a link up to some Road to VR footage, and I watched a bit of that, and the combat does look really satisfying. I mean, I'm not generally a big fan of all this shit that's coming up on the screen, but it does look pretty cool the way that you have to put your swords in certain areas to block and then strike in certain directions and everything. And it does look like it could be quite satisfying. The problem is how long are you going to be able to keep just doing that until you're going to get bored with it? I mean, this is I'm like you. I'm not really a big fan of these roguelike sort of games where they're just never ending and it's just all about score chasing. I personally like a story-driven kind of game where you're moving through environments and you've got kind of an end goal and objectives and things. So I don't know if this is my sort of game. I think that it could be really good fun for maybe a couple of hours. I'm just not sure whether, after a while, whether just constantly fighting the guys over and over again, even if you do get little bits of power ups, it depends on how they do it. But I just can't see how they're going to be able to keep me grabbed for hours, just constantly doing the same thing, hacking and slashing, hacking and slashing. I personally like gameplay to ebb and flow and go through different environments and want to see the next area and what evolve the story. That's what keeps me going through a game, not just constantly just. I think you've got to be just into gameplay more than anything to really enjoy these sort of games. And I like good gameplay, but I like good gameplay sometimes isn't enough for me to keep me coming back to it. So
Yeah, my sentiments exactly. I like the two things I like the most about VR is one, being able to explore new worlds, and two, I like to be told a story. And these type of games don't offer either of those to me. But uh, again, the gameplay looks interesting. These aren't hard iron swords. There are some magical elements being introduced into this as well. I I, I agree. This looks like a fun couple of hours, but I do think it's probably going to be worth a try. We'll give it a fair shot, as we always do. What about you, Roots? What do you think about this game?
Like I just said, I'm not much into melee, so it doesn't appeal to me as much. I have the same concerns about replayability or getting bored. I think In Death does a good job of giving you some incentives, unlocking different things, and having a boss. And so hopefully this will have a little bit of that aspect, or something that give more than just different environments and, like you said, the same hacking and slashing it. Maybe you unlock a better sword, or just some kind of something to give me a reason to want to go in. I mean, every game has that hook that pulls you in, and hopefully this one has one. So
Yeah, I agree. So basically, this generally isn't our type of game, but it looks interesting. It comes from a good developer, and it looks like an interesting gameplay concept. So we'll just have to take a wait and see approach on this one.
yeah, I'm not generally a big early access fan as everyone probably knows by now, but this one because I tend to stay away from early access games where you've got like a campaign and a story because I want to wait until it's finished and just play the polished final version. But games like this kind of work in early access because it's something that you can jump in, play for a bit. It's a never-ending game, so you can play for a couple of hours till you get bored, and then when they bring a new patch with some more to it, you can maybe jump back in and games you can just dip in and out of, occasionally. So this is one that I probably would play, and I wouldn't have a problem with it being early access. And I will definitely check it out when it comes out. I'm interested in it.
you're right. It's perfect for that, right? Sorry, Wes. It's perfect for that as far as the making you want to check it out. I don't know, but go ahead, Wes. Sorry.
No, I was just transitioning onward
Okay,
from this
cool.
one. I was I was leaving the conversation behind.
Let's do it.
So
Let's go.
yeah,
Move.
yeah. So looks cool. We won't have to wait long to check this one out. Again, early access, August 27th, at a digital game store near you. All right, so yeah, not the only game that we got a release date for this week. Telefrag VR release date was revealed, and this is a game that's been on my radar for a little while. Anyway, it's from Manchar Studios, as you can see there, the company that brought us Detached, a pretty awesome, from all reports, a pretty awesome space game. But this one's been on my radar for a little while. I watched some beta footage of it. I think it was from Just Incredible VR channel. So if you guys aren't familiar with Justin's channel, it's pretty awesome.
Just incredible.
Definitely. Just Incredible VR. Yes, yes. But anyway, he seemed to like it. He seemed to think it was pretty fun. Again, well, let's just talk a little bit about this game. This is an arena-based first-person shooter game, and at first glance, it looks like something like a 1v1 Unreal Tournament type game, which normally wouldn't be my thing. Again, like I said before, I like to explore worlds. I like to be told a story, but this game looks pretty unique and has some nuanced gameplay. First of all, there's a variety of weapons in this game, each with 2 firing modes, and in addition to that, you have a teleportation attack. Something I imagine is something similar to like what you do in Doom VFR, where you kind of frag into your enemies. With each match, you select a loadout, a weapons and abilities loadout, and you can buy these weapons with in-game currency that you earn from winning matches against opponents. But the thing that really makes this game interesting is you kind of gamble your loadout. So you don't necessarily want to pick the best thing that you have in every aspect and really jack your load up out, because if you lose, your opponent gets all your shit. So so that really adds a unique element into the strategy behind setting up your loadouts. Like I said, the winner also gets currency, and if you go on a win streak, your prize gets larger. So another thing that currency can be used for, I forgot to mention a moment ago, even if you lose your loadout, you do have the opportunity to buy it back. But my question is, if you're losing matches, how much currency are you really going to have to buy your loadout back? And I think that this really points at my greatest concern with this game, and that is a concern that I expressed a few weeks back about Firewall Zero Hour, where that game seems kind of structured for the strong to get stronger, and that gap between the champions and the newbies gets wider and wider and wider. Rich, do you share that concern when you hear about this kind of gambling style of matchmaking?
Absolutely, because I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna be the guy losing my shit every time, you know. So, and then it's like you said, how do you? I mean, I'm sure I'll win some, but I don't know. My biggest concern with any game like this in VR anymore, maybe Justin would be a better person to answer this question because he loves slightly heroes, but why 1v1? Like, give me 3v3, 4v4. In my opinion, anything less than 3v3 is something that I am very seriously might not play. I want to have a couple people to hide behind, but I don't know. And just the aspect of, I mean, it sounds good in theory, but I think it is designed to, the people that are in there every single day are going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And maybe I have so much shit that I can afford to gamble somewhat stuff you would consider as good. But to me, it's shit. And then I still steal your shit anyway. And then I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a fun looking, I think the gameplay looks fun. The diversity in the weapons and attacks and the different environments. I mean, it's not all. It's really the arenas go in all directions. They sprawl up, down, left, and right everywhere. I think that it looks really, really well done. Really, it kind of reminds me of like Unreal Tournament meets what you just said, Slightly Heroes. Looks like a game that really, Justin might really get into. What about you, Alex? Does this look like your sort of thing?
No, I'm not really a big multiplayer gamer. I've got the bigger first-person shooter titles, but these sort of games, they just die. They just die really quickly. That any developer who makes this sort of game is just the chances of survival in making a VR game and it selling well is slim enough. Then making a 1v1 multiplayer game that relies on a player base to keep it going is just almost suicide, in my opinion. And I just think that we've got Space Junkies, you've got there's another one called Aerobots which is coming out. There's so many of these games coming out. There's so few players that are going to be interested in playing them. Like a 1v1 multiplayer game, a multiplayer only game. How many people are going to be interested in this? And then the people that are going to be left to play with, they're going to be the hardcore that put all the time in and that are going to freaking kick the shit out of you every time you go in. So it ends up, it's just the same problem with Space Junkies. It's the same problem with any of these multiplayer games. You're relying on a player base that's, you're relying on people constantly coming in and playing this game for it to survive, because people aren't going to want to pay and buy this game if no one's playing it. But then the people that end up playing it just end up getting really good. So then you buy it, you come into the game, and you either got to grind to try and get better, or you're just going to die and get fed up and quit. So it's just not. I just don't put my time into this sort of stuff. I just prefer the single player stuff. So
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's if you really have to like this sort of a game because you have to put the time into it. Maybe you can miss a day here and there playing the game, but you don't want to miss two. You know what I mean? You're going to fall behind. But that said, I think you answered Roots' question. Why 1v1? Well, because it's easier to get two players than it is to get 10. And
true, but look at Slightly Heroes. I guess the only reason Slightly Heroes is even works so well is because they gave it away on so many platforms for a long time, so everybody has it. It has a good player base, so unless they're going to charge $10 or less for this game, I think Alex's prediction is Ginger Nostradamus or whatever. It's going to happen because there's just not going to be the player base, because of they're not going to want to invest that money in something like this. I don't think, anyway.
Right. And another reason, like you said, Slightly Heroes has a pretty strong player base. Another reason for that is that it's on so many different devices and it supports cross-platform play. And while Slightly Heroes is on mobile devices and this is not, this is on PlayStation VR and Slightly Heroes is not. And this game does support cross-platform play. PC players are going to be able to play with PSVR players. I'm not sure if they're going to bring this out to Quest or not, but it does have that going for it. It does have a chance that it's going to be able to develop a strong player base if they can get this game in enough hands. And time will only tell if enough people actually try this thing out or not for it to have long-term success.
Give it aim support, and it'll, at least in the PlayStation VR, people will pick it up. So
that's a good point, and I think that I might be tempted to pay for it if it's priced correctly and supports the aim controller. I might even give it a shot.
Yep.
All right, so moving on, as Telefrag VR was that? I think that one's coming for a full release, right?
Well, it's PSVR, so it must be.
Yeah, so Until You Fall coming into early access, Telefrag VR getting full release. This week we also learned that Gorn is going to be getting a full release. Now this is a very, very popular game developed by Free Lives, and it's getting full release on July 18th. It is to be determined whether or not the price is going to change. I imagine it probably will. Generally, $5 or $10 gets tacked on with full release. They're promising new content, probably some new moves, some new arenas, maybe a new enemy type. But with this game finally coming out of early access, I think it's been early access for like 2 years, finally getting its full release on PC. There's a PSVR version upcoming as well. I imagine we'll see that very soon on top of this. So this is a game I've not played. It has many of the same flaws in my eyes as a concept as these other games that we've been talking about. It's arena based. The gameplay seems fairly one-dimensional, kind of a sandbox fighting game, and something that would be fun for a while and then get old fairly quickly. Alex, have you played Gorn, and if so, do you enjoy playing Gorn?
I've played Gorn a couple of times because it was one of those games that everyone bangs on about how great it is and how amazing and fun it is. And I bought it when I first got VR, and I tried it and I played for 30 minutes and I got bored. And then I went back again, probably a year later, and it had updates, and tried it and played 30 minutes and I got bored. So I'm gonna go into the full release. I'm hoping that they've got some sort of campaign where you can maybe progress and you have to unlock weapons and try and get through one weapon to another weapon. Something to give. It's got to have some sort of objective for me to keep wanting to play, and that's what I'm hoping that this full release is going to have. I know Justin went in a while ago and said that it's already got some sort of campaign that's added now, so I definitely will go in the full release and check it out, and maybe we can do a review on it or something. But yeah, I think it's kind of fun, but I'm just not like, what's that other one? Blade and Sorcery. That game, so many people love that game, and I just think it's just
Horrible.
all you're doing is just walking around. You're just stabbing people, and just how much fun can you have just slaughtering people over and over again? It's just, I don't get it, and it's not my bag. So I will see. I'll try it on full release, and hopefully we'll review it in a couple of weeks, and we'll be able to see whether it's worth picking up if you. Well, people love this game, so I don't know.
Yeah, and that's my only real draw as to want to play this game is that other people speak so highly of it. Just looking at what it is from the trailer and any footage I've seen, it doesn't look like something that would interest me. Now, that said, the concept isn't the problem here. I can see some fun being had in mindless gore and violence, but this seems a little too cartoony. I think I would enjoy Blade and Sorcery a little bit more, just based on the fact that it's more photoreal, and the violence and gore would have a little more of an effect on me in that situation. This just looks like,
Chaos,
just cartoony blood shooting everywhere, and it doesn't seem like much to me. But again, I've never played it. What do you think about Gorn?
What's funny is, like, okay, so I kind of fell into it like Alex. Everybody on Anthony's show was raving about this. It was the TV breaker and everybody needed to check this out. And so I went in, and this is like probably right after it came out, and I was having to drag myself around to move. And I thought, what the fuck is this? Like, it was horrible, and it was okay killing some stuff. And then like 6 months went by, and I went back in, and they had added locomotion, and it was night and day. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm running around, and I guess you will end up playing it. Just make sure you're not facing your TV, Wes, because you might break another one. But the thing about this is exactly what you said, Alex, does exist. It does have a campaign, like Justin was saying, and it starts out to where you've got to do like one person with a certain weapon, and then it goes to another, maybe two people with that weapon, and then with a spear and with a crossbow, and it does get to bosses and stuff. So there is more to it than just the sandbox mode. And I found when I played it and started going through the campaign, I really enjoyed it. So I'm pretty sure, and I'm kind of psyched to see once we do play through it, that both of you will enjoy it a lot more more than you think you would. Because I in the beginning when I first tried it, I wasn't that impressed, but they've made a lot of improvements and a lot more even so since I played last. So I'm kind of psyched myself to try it.
So yeah, I will give them that. They have updated this game quite a lot. And for those of you like Roots out there that enjoy this game and are fans of it, you've got another big update coming July 18th. So be on the lookout for it. And for those of you that want to play it that haven't picked it up yet, probably a good time to pick it up now because the price could increase in just a few days' time.
Yeah, and if you have played it and you do recommend it, put in the comments, let Wes and Alex know like what it is you like about this game and why it's a must pick up. Because depending on the price, I would say it's got enough content that I would say it's a must pick up. But yeah, so it's definitely being that it's going to be finished for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that was the last of our announcements, our release announcements, but not the last update that was announced. Surprisingly, this past week, a big update to Sparc was announced. And the reason why this is such a shocker, Sparc is a VR sport game. A lot of people call it the first VR sport or the only real VR sport. This is a popular game with a very dedicated fan base to it. But we thought this game was dead, and the reason why, the developer of this game, CCP Games, 2 years ago announced that they were pulling out of VR, that they still love the platform and they believe in it long term, but they didn't find it financially viable to continue to develop for VR in the current climate. It wasn't coming along as quickly as they wanted it to. So they pulled out. They said they were going to quit supporting Sparc and they were going to just focus solely on mobile and flat games. So, everyone just assumed Sparc's dead and we go on. And here we are 2 years later, 2019, VR's big revival that's been going on all year long. Here's even further evidence of it because all of a sudden CCP Games is back with full support for everybody's favorite VR sport, Sparc. It's a 1v1, as you can see there. It's kind of like a tennis racquetball style of game. You're trying to get the ball past your opponent. New features coming to this game. It adds new online modes. Now there's a quick play option. You can have ranked matches, which is important of any kind of multiplayer game, whether it be FPS or sport-based. It's important to have ranked matches so that people who are of similar skill level can be matched up against one another. So that's going to be the case here. There's going to be a new leaderboard showing you how you rank against the rest of the community. And there's also a custom game level, I guess, where you're going to have options with the rule set. I haven't played this game. I do own it. I picked this up for my wife, and she really enjoyed it. I got this game years ago on PlayStation VR for like beans, like $6 or $7, and she really enjoyed it. Said it's great. My daughter played it. She likes it. A lot of people say it's great. Have either of you played this game at all? Do you own it? Have you played it?
I played it once.
No. There is a free weekend this weekend actually, so you can play it. Hopefully, obviously this comes out
Sunday morning
tomorrow, but you should still have time to play. But I'm just not a big, like I said, I'm not a big multiplayer fan, so it's not really something that I'm not interested in. And with the whole CCP thing as well, it's like they basically brought out 2 games which were pretty much multiplayer only, and then complained that there wasn't enough people buying them. And it's just you're limited. You're bringing out these multiplayer only games in a limited market, and then. So we'll see if they ever come back. But they have said that they're still interested in VR. So.
Well, is this on?
But they never really made any.
Is this on Quest? Sorry, I cut you off. Actually, you were still talking. Sorry.
No, I don't think it is.
Because if you could put this on Quest, it would be something that would be really good for movement wise. I mean, that's the thing. Is this even cross-play PC to PlayStation? Because, we've just talked about how adding different consoles to the mix makes it easier. Maybe this time Sparc will survive.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain. I think it's cross-play, but I don't know that. What I do know is what you just said is absolutely true. This is a no-brainer for Quest, and I think that could have a lot to do with why we see CCP Games crawling out from under their rock. Because there probably is a Quest version of this coming up, and it makes sense from every which way you think about it. This is perfect game for Quest, and a lot of people love this game. And if you don't want to play it, there's a spectator mode, which I think the spectator mode was part of the game before, but now, like used to, the spectators could talk to the people that were playing. Now you can mute them. You can turn that off. You don't have to listen to people and have them distracting you while you're trying to play. So
that's pretty cool.
Anyway, anything else on Sparc?
I think it's pretty cool. I was going to say I did try it like a year ago or more on a free weekend for one round or something, or it might have been the contest or something. I don't know. But I am going to go try it either today or tomorrow just because a couple of people in the Discord have been saying how good it is. And this is one of the things I don't mind playing 1v1. I mean, it's like a tennis match, like you said. So I think it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, this, as I said, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say they tried this game and didn't like it. Everybody seems to love this game. And with the Quest out now especially, it's kind of bringing in this new group of people who use VR for fitness. And this is a great game for that. You can really work up a sweat playing Sparc. A no-brainer for this to be coming to Quest and for CCP Games to be getting back into VR now, where, like I said before, this year seems to be a big revival for VR. Not that it was ever really dead, but it seems to be going to new heights this year, and every week there seems to be a piece of news that supports that. So definitely cool. Last week, we reported that with the launch of the Valve Index, that the free VR title Waltz of the Wizard would be getting an update and becoming a paid title. $10. Some new spells have been added into the game. Some new items, interactive items added into it, and basically the entire question with it is there enough that has been added to this game to warrant a $10 price tag? I never played this game before. I still haven't played it. I know Roots tried to play it, had some technical difficulties this week, wasn't able to get into it. But Alex played it before, and he played it this week. So no one better to comment on the updates to this game than him. So, Alex, what did you think about the extended edition of Waltz of the Wizard?
I decided to pick it up. It was on like a pre-launch sale or something for £4, so I figured, let's have a look. One of the things that attracted me actually was the index controllers, because this is the first thing I've tried with finger tracking in an actual game. So I was kind of interested just to see how that works and how it feels. But I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, the actual game itself, there is improvements. I mean, visually it looks better. There does seem to be more to do. I mean, obviously, I've already played the free version, so I kind of was redoing some stuff, but I was doing some new stuff. I played for about 30 minutes, and I kind of got a bit bored with it, to be honest with you. So I think it's definitely good for newbies, like for new people to show VR if you've just got VR. But I think if you've been playing VR for a while and you've done all the big games and stuff, I don't know if this is going to be something that you're going to really enjoy that much. And obviously you've got the free version, which you could literally download and try if you wanted to anyway. But I mean, with the finger tracking side of things, because obviously you've got you've got these hands and you can see your fingers moving around and everything. It's kind of cool, but it's just kind of cemented in my mind that the whole finger tracking thing is a bit of a gimmick, to be honest with you, because when you pick things up, I mean, maybe this game doesn't do it very well, but once you pick things up, your hands disappear anyway, so you don't see your fingers. So the only time you see them is when you're not picking things up, and then you can cast spells. But yeah, it just didn't feel like it really added anything. And when you actually walk around, because you're using the thumbstick on your left hand, naturally you kind of your index finger kind of curls around, so you end up effectively like walking around doing the OK sign, but in VR. So your hand's not doing that, but like walking around with OK sign all the time, and it just looked really weird, and it kind of broke immersion rather than created immersion. So we'll see. I need to spend more time with the finger tracking side of things, but that side I think is a bit of a gimmick. I love the controllers overall, but yeah, we'll see.
Are you saying you don't walk around with your OK sign around all day, every
walk
day?
around like,
Yeah.
yeah. No.
Why not? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a normal thing that we all do.
Let me ask you this, Alex. On this, like you said, you played it through doubt. It's probably hard for you to answer this, and it would have been easier for me. I wish I would have been able to try it. Could you say, like you said, it's more of a new person thing? Is it worth the $10 to buy it, or should the people just get the free version outside of supporting the developers, which I don't want to take money out of their pocket, but is there a reason to check it out? I mean, I know you got bored if you'd never seen it.
Yeah, well, I was kind of hoping one of you would have tried it just to see what your perspective of is coming from, from never tried it before, to see whether you enjoyed it. Because I mean, I spent probably a good 30 minutes on it before, and most of the stuff I did see the second time around was new, so you could get a good hour out of it. I'd say an hour and a half, maybe max, if you saw everything. It's $10. Is that enough for you? I don't know. I mean, it's subjective, obviously, but maybe next week one of you can try it and we can come back to it and see.
I'll definitely try it. If I wasn't having the issues I had, I spent like an hour and a half before the show trying to get in there frantically. I hate it. Like my thing is like I want to. This is the friction, right? I want to be able to pick up my headset, put it on, have it work every fucking time, and then all of a sudden weird shit's happening, and I got to unplug this and do that, and so this would be a case where I could see Anthony's Quest being. I guarantee he has less issues, or Wes has less issues if they pick the Quest up. You're not going to have the issues of the weird shit that it happens sometimes with PC, some kind of conflict or some weird stuff. But anyway, that's a side issue.
But you will have the issues of foveated rendering and heavy aliasing when you're playing games.
Yeah, trade-off.
There's a trade-off, yeah. It's always a trade-off. But yeah, I think it'd be good if one of you can check this out and maybe next week talk about it, because I don't want to shit on it or anything. It's just if you had $10 to spend on a game, do you buy this or do you put it towards something else? That's the thing. So,
is the free version still available, or is it just $10 now?
I hope it's not.
I believe it's still. I think it's still available. So I think you can still get the free version.
I'd take that shit down if I was selling the game. I'd be like, oh, sorry, you could have gotten the free version. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I would personally, but that's
or at least scale it back, like tremendously scale it back, so that you can make it just more like a demo, of the full version. So yeah, definitely more on this one to come in later episodes here, probably next week. But for right now, it seems like perhaps this is an idea that was better when VR launched 3 years ago, and for the more refined VR gamer that's been in it a while, maybe not so entertaining as it once was. But we'll check it out before we judge it too harshly, and we'll come back to it later.
Yeah.
But anyway, that will wrap our news segment this week. There were a few other items that we didn't want to touch on too much. The basic stuff. There were some Quest announcements, some PSVR announcements, stuff that we knew were coming. And of course, you can find that stuff on our Discord. Just come and talk to us there. We're in there all the time, talking VR, talking about this stuff. So if you want to keep up with what's going on day to day, that's the place to do it. But that brings us into our game review segment, where we reveal to you, the viewers, which games we're going to be doing reviews on this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and why. Why are we doing this game?
Why?
Why?
My wife.
Why is my wife? All right. Anyway, let's see here. I guess Monday, let's go with Alex. Alex, what game did you choose to review this week?
I chose the controversial game of the year, which is Rogan, the Thief in the Castle. This came obviously out, we talked about it last week, but it literally just come out, so we'd not really had a chance to try it. There were some issues, which meant I couldn't really play it because of blur. They've been fixed now. You can now turn off the HUD, and the blur, this is still a bit janky. You've got to go into the graphic settings, turn it to low, and turn it back up to high, and then it's clear. But that only applies if you're on Steam VR. So if you're an Oculus player, it's fine. It's a super sampling issue. So yeah, the game looks great now. You know, it's graphically, it's very nice, very nice. So it's not terrible, but it's not great either. I mean, yeah, I think you should listen to the review, because I'm gonna shit on this game quite a lot. But what I will say is that the game isn't as bad as I think a lot of people have made it out to be, but it does have its fair share of problems. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, do any of you want to add anything to it?
No, I just I'll say that I like the hands-on approach from the developers of this game. They seem to be quite interested in improving their product. So if you tried this on day one and refunded it quickly because you found a lot of issues with it, watch our review on Tuesday and see Alex's and our thoughts on how the game has improved since then, because it definitely has been patched a time or two now and is better than it was. So, all right, so moving on, I guess on Wednesday we'll go with my game, and this week I'm choosing to review Transference, which is a game that came out, I think, mid to late last year, if I'm not mistaken, from Ubisoft, the aforementioned Ubisoft, and in association with what's the name of the company that
Spectravision.
Spectravision, yeah. Spectravision brought us this game, and it's a really cinematic, story-driven game, which I love. It also has a very dark theme, which I love. And the reason why I'm choosing to review this game this week is because I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite games. It's, as far as production values go, top notch. Not very many games that look and sound better than this game. It does some interesting things with lighting to differentiate time periods. This game plays with time, and it uses some very interesting methods of storytelling. All in all, a very well done game, very unique aspects to this game as well, albeit short, very much worth checking out for anyone who enjoys a dark narrative such as myself. So that, in a nutshell, is why I'm choosing this game this week. And tune in on Wednesday if you want to know what we all think about this game. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about Transference?
Nope.
All right, so that brings us to Thursday's game, coming from Roots. Roots, what have you chosen to review and why?
All right,
Why?
I chose decided to go with Wipeout, which is PlayStation VR exclusive. Came out, at least the patch came out March 28th of 2018, so it's been out over a year. And it's by Sony Interactive. It's obviously a racing game. Reason I decided to choose this, I was trying to choose something that, you know, I knew that Alex had suggested something on PlayStation. You know, we want to hit both sides, and I was trying to choose something I knew Wes had had some time with, because he's been very busy, and oh my God, I am so glad I did. It blew me away. I had bought this game on day one, or day one of getting my PlayStation VR, and I played a little bit, but I didn't really go in depth. And yeah, that's my main reason is I wanted to check out something PlayStation VR, and I'm very glad I did. This is probably the best racing game I've played in VR. And if you want to know exactly why it's so good, Wes and I will break it down on Thursday. Why? And we'll tell you the good things about Wipeout, and if there are any bad things. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, top notch racing game. One of the fastest things I've ever experienced in VR, Wipeout. I think maybe only Polybius is the only thing I've played that plays faster than this. And it's nuts. Very high quality title. Ports very well into VR. And yeah, tune in on Thursday to hear more.
Let me ask you this, Alex, real quick, since you're not going to be there for the review. Is this a game that you wish you had a PlayStation VR for?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is one of the top games. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right up your alley, dude.
Yeah, this looks so cool. I've tried Redout on PC, and it's just not the same. You know, graphically, it's not the same, and
it's not the same play wise either. I've played them both, and after playing the extensive amount that I played last night, I can definitively say, it's not even close. It's a good mimic.
Look at this shit. They're going down the side of skyscrapers, and I just can only imagine how cool that must be in VR. So
it's crazy. It's got a good Mario Kart feel to it too, with all the stuff getting shot at you and stuff. So, but yeah, it's definitely worth checking out the review on Thursday for sure.
Yeah, and they announced this VR patch pretty much out of nowhere. No one was expecting it, and all of a sudden we're getting Wipeout in VR. It's coming in a couple months' time, and what an advantage Sony has with all of these older generation AAA games to draw on, that they could just pull out at any moment and bring VR support to. Really makes being a PSVR gamer an exciting thing, because you never know when stuff like this is going to just show up out of nowhere.
Let me ask you this. Okay. Oh my God, I didn't even notice this. I couldn't get the fucking thing off, the blinder thing. How do you get it off? Like, it really bothered me. I tried every option. There was some options grayed out, but do you know how to get that blinder so I can see the whole thing?
I seem to remember that you can turn that off.
I think you have to do it in game. I think you have to, when you launch the actual track, you have to press pause and then do it.
Okay.
I don't think you can do it from the main menus.
I'll try that. If that's not the way, if somebody knows, please, for the love of God, tell me, because I think that will almost complete my life, I think. So
you can do it.
I do remember that there are certain options that you can only access during a race, which is kind of shitty, because you don't want to stop racing to mess around with the options. But I'm pretty sure that you can turn that off. I don't quite remember how I did it though.
Cool.
But, anyway, that's going to wrap our show for the week. Just to recap, today, of course, as always, the Sunday show. Tomorrow, as always, our topical discussion. And Alex, why don't you tell the viewers what we're going to be talking about tomorrow?
This is a bit of a favorite of ours, hidden gems. So we're going to do another 6. This is part 2 of hidden gems. And what I will say about that is, I know we've got a lot of recommendations, and thank you, people of Discord, for recommending those. What we're going to do is we're going to stick with kind of our personal recommendations, and then in the future we'll get some guests on, and we'll do some other episodes, and you can talk about your hidden gems. So, but yeah, we've got another 6 coming up for you.
You know, the best thing about hidden
So-
gems is they are subjective, and there's so many different reasons. And you know, if we'll always explain why we think it's a hidden gem, so that in and of itself, in my opinion, is intriguing. So
So, one of our favorite early topical episodes, Hidden Gems, getting a reboot. Tomorrow we're going to do part 2, and be sure to tune in for that. And then following that on Tuesday will be Alex's game, which is Rogan, A Thief in the Castle. Then on Wednesday, followed by my game, Transference. And then rounding out the week on Thursday, Roots' game, Wipeout Omega Collection. All right.
As a week.
Yeah, pretty good week, right? As always. Anyway, unless you guys have anything you would like to add.
no, just like, subscribe,
Uh,
join the Discord. Like Wes said earlier, the Discord is where all the magic is made, and I guarantee you, there's people there that will tell you that they are having an influence on our show. So if you want to have like more of an impact on what you see on our show, definitely join the Discord and get in on the discussion.
100%. As always, friends, if you've watched through this entire video, I want to thank you for watching. If you like what you have seen here, be sure to click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to get the notification bell to keep up with our daily content. So, for Alex and Roots, I'm Wes, and thanks again, friends, for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Take it easy.
Bye.